So this isn't my usual thing, or even my usual day for that matter, but I had some thoughts about Good Friday that I thought might be worth sharing. And I think they may have been helpful to me when I was in one of the darker periods of my life. And so maybe they'll be a comfort to someone, and that feels worth sharing. I do not recommend sharing what I'm about to say with anyone because you think they should hear it, because I don't think it'll be welcome if you're using me to say it to them. Just a word of warning about tact there, and I am aware I just told you, don't share this, but it's more be careful who you share it with and the spirit that you share it in. So, why is it called Good Friday? It is the day that Jesus, God, was killed, and that's a pretty bad Friday. On a cosmic scale, the day God died is a strong contender for the worst Friday in the history of the universe. Worse than most Mondays. But it is called Good Friday because of what happened Sunday. Christ rose from the dead and declared that his death, his blood, had been used to pay for the sins of all those who believe in him. Retroactively, that makes what happened on Awful Friday the second greatest thing to ever happen. The first is definitely Jesus rising from the dead on Easter Sunday, otherwise Good Friday would be Bad Friday. But that is retroactive. We see it as the greatest Friday now, looking back. But for those living through it, it was horrible. God died. His followers' hope died. Everything that they had expected to happen wouldn't anymore. They were right to fear, to grieve, but they were wrong to lose hope. If any of them had paid attention to what he said before, when he said that he would die and rise again in 3 days, Good Friday would still be hard and awful, but they would have had hope that it would turn out okay. Hope that he would do what he said he would. Hope that what had happened was part of his plan, and hope that things would work out in the end. They should have had hope that that horrible Friday would become Good Friday. So, now the hard part, the part where we don't just judge people in the past with our wonderful magical hindsight. What is your terrible Friday right now? Is there something horrible that has happened to you, or even is happening to you, and it's made you question God and his plan and whether or not he's even in control? It's something that you couldn't possibly look back on and think of as good. Whatever it is, I'm sure that it sucks. I'm sure that it's painful, and I'm sure that it's awful. You have every right to grieve, and that process may take years and require counseling to get through. And you have every right to question God in it. Jesus questioned the Father on the cross. Near the end, he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" What he went through on the cross was so horrible that even Jesus questioned God. All of that is understandable, but don't lose hope. The Bible says that we know that all things work together for the good of those who love him, God. Whatever it is, it will be good in the long run, maybe the very, very long run. But whatever it is, it can be good. Hope is the belief that things will work out, and you need to keep hope alive. Hope that one day you will look back on your bad Friday, and while you may not say it was as great as Good Friday, you'll be able to see the good that came from it. Maybe it'll affect you in a way that makes you a better person. Maybe it'll lead your life in a direction that it never would have taken without your current or past pain. Maybe you'll never know. Maybe something that you do in this period or did in that period will lead to people being blessed, and you won't find out about it before heaven. The absolute worst period of my life was between the ages of 12 and 16. Puberty hit my brain so hard that it actually changed my personality type. I was an ENTP and I became an INTP. And then, due to life circumstances, I suddenly had no friends apart from my dog. It was awful. A month before my birthday, I broke my mom's heart in half. She said my 16th birthday was coming up, and that's a pretty big deal. did I want to have a party or something? And I asked, who would I invite? And she couldn't think of anyone. We were in the car at the time, and years later, she told me that when we got home, she went to her room, closed the door, and cried for a while. But that period eventually ended. And now I look back on it with gratitude and see it as a good thing. Uh, for one piece of the gratitude, God protected me from ever being suicidal. Two, because of the pain that I went through, I've been able to comfort a lot of loved ones in my life. And now that I'm coming up on being old enough for my kids and their friends to be teenagers, I fear that that hard-earned empathy is going to be necessary, though it's my constant prayer that my kids do not have to deal with what I did. I hated every minute of it, but I'm able to understand why it happened and even be a little glad that it did. A year or so ago, my wife and I were hanging out with some friends, and someone asked the question, if you could go back to your middle or high school self, what would you say? And there was a lot of, don't take yourself so seriously, don't date this person, most of what you're worrying about won't matter in the long run, this band isn't really that good, stop listening to them, that kind of thing. But I was being pretty quiet, and they asked what I would do, and I said I'd go back to the January before I turned 16 and tell myself, you only have to hold on for a little longer. You're almost done. And once you are, it's not only going to get better, but it's going to get really, really good. And I'd give myself a hug because I know that I needed it. My wife cried, but if I was given that opportunity, I would use it to give myself hope. Don't lose hope. Hope doesn't make the pain go away, but it's a light at the end. Live with hope. On Friday, God was always going to come back, and there will come a Sunday that not only explains your Friday, but makes it worth it. Hold on to hope that that's true. That was actually the wrong definition of hope. Hope is the confidence that things are going to be okay. Well, I don't know if that'll be a comfort to anybody, but on the off chance that it is, I felt like I had to make it. You'll see me next time if you subscribe. Happy Easter.